Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel Parks. This video is the first part of a presentation that Marlis Whitley and I have put together on Stephen Toulmin's model of argument. The title of this presentation is The Thickness of Argument. Marlis and I are former students of this class, English 307, and our goal for this video is to briefly review this model, apply it to an example to illustrate how to use it, and discuss why it can be helpful as a tool for advocacy. The Toulmin model is a method for deconstructing and understanding the parts of an argument. We are particularly interested in using the model to consider types of argument you might see outside of class in your day-to-day life. With this goal in mind, we will apply the model to an everyday example. When we search for and consider arguments as they occur in everyday contexts, we should remember that they still have a structure, a way that they work as arguments. Many of us are not taught to look for, identify, or comprehend these structures, the architecture that helps the argument work, and that suggests a meaning or even multiple meanings. For example, you may have learned about syllogistic reasoning or similar principles from a logic or philosophy class. Although those types of reasoning are valid, they are not always the most helpful for understanding arguments outside of academic or theoretical contexts. Stephen Toulmin's model, what we will review in this presentation, gives us some terms and a framework that can help us unpack common ways people think about and formulate arguments in everyday life. Even in everyday life, but particularly in advocacy, arguments and messages are complex, and the various elements that add up to make an argument a whole are not always apparent. For example, when advocates debate the United States' involvement in the Middle East, they make references to certain ideologies and worldviews. They also rely on specialized knowledge and perspectives that aren't common to the general public. Certain premises or beliefs naturally become built in to how people advocate. When people craft arguments, they draw upon many different sources and factors, which often gives their arguments a thick quality. In fact, this thick, multifaceted nature of arguments means there are many nuances and references that can go overlooked. These tendencies in everyday argument construction are part of what inspired Stephen Toulmin to create his model and why we use it. Since arguments have a lot going on, whether it's complexity, moving parts, points that are not always evident, it can be helpful to focus on the 6 concepts used in Toulmin's method: claim, data, warrant, backing, qualifier, and rebuttal. We will recap these concepts briefly here, but please also use your additional course readings for more examples and discussions of this model. So a claim is the conclusion of an argument. For example, pepperoni is the best pizza topping. The claim tends to be the most explicit element in the model. It's the easiest to understand. Data, or grounds, means the evidence you use to justify your claim. For example, pepperoni was polled as the most favored in a survey, or President Obama loves pepperoni, and an official pizza expert chef from New York made a public statement agreeing with him. Data is used to give a solid foundation to justify your claim. Now, the claim and the data are sometimes the most apparent parts of the 6 elements. Some of the other aspects of an argument are ones that you, as the person using the model, might have to detect, intuit, or even do your best to imagine. For instance, the warrant is used to connect the claim to the data. With this connection, the warrant explains how your data is used to justify whatever your claim is. It can be something unspoken in the argument. For instance, the survey showed that Americans enjoy pepperoni the most, or because Obama, a generally popular public figure, loves pepperoni and a pizza expert concurred, providing her professional opinion, the topping's popularity spiked. In this example that I described, Barack Obama and the pizza expert are popular public figures. The influence that they both have works to affect both the outcome of the data itself, the survey about pizza toppings, as well as the validity of using the survey as evidence in the first place. Personal influence and appeals to authority can help reinforce the connection of data to the claim of an argument. So to recap, the 3 essential parts of arguments are data, or grounds, a justifying warrant that connects the data to the conclusion, and the actual claim or conclusion itself. Stephen Toulmin also designated 3 additional components to help us deal with the thickness of arguments. These additional components are rebuttal, backing, and qualifier. Whereas the warrant of an argument is the reasoning that connects the data to the claim, the backing is a deeper and potentially broader explanation of the warrant. It's another layer to the justification. The next component, rebuttal, may or may not be present. Sometimes arguments have built-in replies or rebuttals for counter-arguments that they expect their claims will elicit. For example, someone arguing for marijuana decriminalization in the United States may include a reference to the failures of the alcohol prohibition as a built-in rebuttal, anticipating a way an audience will respond to their argument. A qualifier describes the degree of confidence or certainty which an argument uses to express the conclusion. An argument saying something is likely or probable is thought to qualify the conclusion. In other words, it means that the conclusion will be expressed as less accurate than a blanket statement of fact, such as an argument that expresses something certain or an indubitable claim. So the Toulmin model is a helpful way to interpret arguments. Sometimes a single image can contain a complex and fully formed argument. For instance, billboard ads. In the summer of 2019, a story broke about a controversial health campaign in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The billboard was posted by the city of Philadelphia as part of a city health initiative focused on diabetes. The public has had varied and sometimes negative responses to the billboard. In fact, it has caused a lot of backlash, such as claims that the billboard does not make a distinction between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. To get a better understanding of how this billboard conveys an argument, let's identify the different elements using the Toulmin method. So the claim is usually the easiest and most obvious part of an argument to find. In this case, the claim is most explicitly that quick and sugary foods lead to diabetes. Today's quick breakfast could be tomorrow's diabetes. The data or grounds used to justify the claim is, broadly speaking, the role sugary snacks often play in obesity and diabetes diagnoses. As the billboard says, sugary snacks can lead to obesity, which can cause diabetes and its serious implications. We also see an image on the billboard of a child eating some type of snack, which may be interpreted as a part of the argument. I think the image of the child is a subtle way to reinforce connecting the broad generalized data on diabetes to the more localized area of Philadelphia. That is, the billboard is giving viewers a sort of visual proof that a child is eating a quick breakfast that is likely sugary, and the child is likely from Philadelphia, even though we know that the image may likely be staged by an advertising company and may or may not have anything to do with Philadelphia. Now, what warrants the connection from the data to the claim appears to be an assumption that children in Philly are eating these sugary snacks and that parents need to be informed of the implications of this. This is an unstated element of the argument. The billboard doesn't explain this or spell it out for us, even though viewers see a representation of this happening. The qualifier is based on probability and not absolute certainty in this example. Here it is present in the word could. Quick sugary snacks could be tomorrow's diabetes. The argument is not that the snacks inherently do cause diabetes or always will cause diabetes. In this way, the argument as presented lessens the degree of certainty. The backing, the deep and underlying idea or association that helps the argument work, or not, could be the general belief and expectation that cities like Philadelphia should play an active role in the health of their citizens. So that was my analysis of the billboard. In the next video, Marlis will pick up with her own analysis and then connect the Toulmin model back to advocacy. Thank you.